Hello mga ka-AIO. Welcome back to another video. So, for today's video po ay mag-configure tayo. Initial configuration for our Palo Alto Firewall. And this will be our diagram. It's a simple configuration only. As you can see here, we have the ISP. Okay, and below that one will be our edge firewall, which is the Palo Alto Firewall. And this Palo Alto Firewall will serve two networks, which is 1.1.1.0/24, which will be having static IPs, and 2.2.2.0/24, which will be having a DHCP configuration from the Palo Alto Firewall. So here is a few info which we need to configure first before we do the simple configuration. So first we need to configure the Palo Alto management interface to 192.168.0.5/24, and the gateway will be 0.1, and we will be using Google public DNS 8.8.8.8 to resolve the URLs. Okay, and then we have here the Ethernet 1, which will be directly connected to ISP. We will be setting it as static or DHCP assignment because we'll not be able to do it on the PPPoE. Unfortunately, I don't have PPPoE server in my lab, but I can show you how to configure it. I have my other firewall which uses PPPoE, and we'll set Ethernet 1 as an outside zone, and Ethernet 2 will be this network. So internal 1.1.1.0/24. This will be manual IP assignment. There will be no IPs coming from the Palo Alto Firewall. Hence, you need to set it statically on the end machine. Okay, and we'll name it as inside static zone. And then lastly, we'll configure Ethernet 3 from the Palo Alto Firewall as internal 2.2.2.0/24 network, which will be receiving DHCP IP assignments via the Palo Alto Firewall, and we will name it as inside DHCP zone. Okay, so first things first, we need to configure the Palo Alto management interface. Okay, so what you have to do is once you turn on your firewall, you'll be connecting your RJ45 console cable to the console port of the Palo Alto Firewall, and connect the other end to your machine. And you need to run terminal emulator such as PuTTY or MobiXterm, okay, whichever you prefer. Okay, so for now I'll be using a VM, so I won't be able to show it to you, but I can show you the console of the VM. Here we go. So once you turn on the firewall, it will ask you to log in. Initial login, okay, the default credentials will be admin and admin. After logging in, it will be asking you to change the password immediately. So let's try it. Admin. Okay, so here it's asking me to enter the old password, which is admin, and now I need to change my new password. Yeah, so as you can see, we already changed the password, but for this one to work, we need to commit the device first. But before committing, we need to configure the management interface, which is 192.168.0.5. We need to first things first, we need to set the management interface as static because it will be coming as dynamic. Okay, let me just show it to you. Show system info. As you can see here, the IP assignment. Okay, so the IP assignment is DHCP. Okay, Now we need to move from DHCP to static. uh, Actually, you can use DHCP, but in our case it's not really that being used, so we'll be using the static assignment. So first thing, you need to go to the configure mode. Okay, and set device config system type static. Set device config system type static. Sorry about this one. Just move it a little. Yeah, okay. Okay. So system set device config system type static. Now we need to configure the IP address. Set device config system IP hyphen address. Okay, by the way, you can use IPv6 address. In our case, we'll be using IPv4. Okay, 192 space 192.168.0.5, and then net mask will be /24 is 255.255.255.0, and then DNS settings server primary will be 8.8.8.8, and then enter. Now we need to commit. Okay, now it's committed successfully. We need to check it. Show system info. Okay, as you can see, the IP address is now changed, management IP, the net mask, and okay, we did not insert the default gateway. Okay, what we can do, we can go back to configure, set device config system default gateway is 192.168.0.1, and then we can commit. Yep. Okay, now we'll exit from configuration mode and do show system info. Okay, now the IP address is changed, net mask is changed, default gateway is changed, IP assignment is static. Okay, now what we can do is, since it's committed, we'll exit from here. So we already configured the management IP on the Palo Alto management interface. Now let's check it. Sorry about that. Okay, now let's check using ping. Send the ping 192.168.0.5. Okay, there's a ping. Okay, just a quick tip. When you are accessing the GUI for the first time, do not forget to include the HTTPS on the beginning. Okay, or let me just give you a quick trivia. So it was my first time. This was like 4 years back. So it was my first time working with Palo Alto Firewalls, and I configured the management IP, and everything is working as expected. Then after the CLI configuration, I went to the GUI and I just entered 192.168.0.5, and I was waiting for like some time, but the GUI was not responding. So then I found out that HTTPS is required because HTTPS is more secure than HTTP. So for us to connect, okay, with the GUI, we need to insert HTTPS 192.168.0.5. Okay, so it will give us this not secure because this is a self-signed certificate, okay, from Palo Alto Networks. And this not secure will change once you have generated the management certificate for the GUI, which I can show it to you later on this video. Okay, so let's log in. Admin and my password. And we'll check the device interfaces, and then interfaces management. So here type is static IP address, the net mask, oops, the default gateway. Okay, earlier it was 0.1, but I could not make it work, so I changed it to 0.254. And here we have enabled only HTTPS. Okay, so this is the one that I was talking about earlier. By default, HTTP is not enabled on the GUI, on the Palo Alto Firewall. So we need to use HTTPS, or we can do secure shell. Okay, so on this side, on the management interface settings, we also have an access control list or permitted IP addresses, wherein I can, put a specific IP address. Okay, or we can also put subnet. Okay, and you can press OK. I will delete this one first. Delete. Press OK, and we will be committing it. Okay, now while it's committing, let's try the SSH. Start. Oops, sorry. Wrong. Session. SSH 2168.0.5. Okay. Okay, login successful. Jobs all. Okay, this is the commit. Commit is pending. Commit is completed. Okay. So we have here the SSH access, and we have here the GUI access. Okay, now going back to our diagram. Okay, Palo Alto management interface is already configured. Now we have to configure Ethernet 1 going directly to the ISP, Ethernet 2 as internal, and Ethernet 3 as internal as well. Let's go to my VM. Okay, network adapter 1. This will be your management interface if you're using the VM machine. Okay, network 2. This will be my Ethernet 1. This is outside. This is correct. Network 3 will be 1.1. Network 4 will be 2.2. Okay, this is fine. Just wanted to make sure. Now let's go back to the jump, and we'll go to network interfaces, Ethernet. Okay, now 1.1 will be connected directly to the ISP. We will change the interface type to layer 3 ISP outside. Okay, now virtual router will be default for now. Security zone, we will create a new security zone. Which one we named it? We'll name it as outside zone. Okay, outside. Click OK. Outside. IPv4. Okay, for now I'll show you DHCP. Okay, DHCP, and enable automatically create default route. It will automatically create a default route on your virtual router. Okay, and default route metric will be there as well. And we also have this option to use PPOE. It will ask for your username and password. Okay, so if you have a PPOE configuration, let me just show it to you. Oops, no, that one. No. Okay, now I'll use this one. Oops. Okay, so this is dynamic PPOE. Okay, so here IPv4 I just set as PPOE enable, and I put my username and password. Once it configures it successfully, it will show you as the link state is up, configured and up. Okay, so it's the same thing. I'll just use here DHCP client. Okay, I'll be taking automatically from the router, and here you have some other configurations which will not be doing. Here you can also set the management profile. Okay, whether you want to allow to access via this IP or not. Okay, so in our case we have an out of bound which is dedicated on the management interface, so we'll not be needing this one. Okay, now we press OK. Okay, dynamic DHCP client layer 3 ISP outside. Now we'll configure Ethernet 1/2 as layer 3 again. Okay, and then comment here internal static. Okay, virtual router will be still default. Security zone, will change the zone. Actually you can use single zone on both internal, but for granular configuration I'll be using separate one. Static. Okay, IPv4, I'll put the static IP here, 1.1.1/24. Okay, this is fine. Now we have finished configuring Ethernet 1/1 and Ethernet 1/2, and we need to configure Ethernet 1/3 to have a configuration of a DHCP. So what we can do is we need to configure this one. We'll configure it as a layer 3 and put the command internal CP. Virtual router will be default. Security zone, I will use a new zone. Okay, internal DHCP. Okay, and then IPv4, this will be 2.2.2.1/84. What else? Okay, this is fine. Okay, now we need to configure a DHCP. Add, select 1/3, and options, mode will be enabled. Now you need to configure the IP pool, so I'll put 2.2.2.10 up to 2.2.2.10. 100. Okay, you can actually on the DHCP server configuration, you can reserve addresses. You can bind the MAC address with it. Okay, you can just click add. You'll put which IP address you want to serve it and insert the MAC address here as well. Okay, so for now, I'll leave it as this one, and we can go to the options. Here, inheritance source. Okay, if you want the subnet mask, DNS, I mean the DNS and the NTP servers to be inherited from Ethernet 1/1, you can select this one. Okay, but in our case, we'll select as none, and we need to configure it on our own. So the primary DNS will be 8.8.8.8.8. Okay, the gateway will be 2.2.2.1. Subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0. Okay, this is fine. Press OK. Networks, interfaces. Now we have here configured the static one. We also have here configured 1/3. Yeah. So let's try to commit and see. Already committed successfully. As you can see in the link state, it's configured, and up there's a green color. And let's check which IP it took. Okay, 192.168.1.211. Okay, so there you go, it's configured now. Next thing we need to configure is we need to configure the policy which will allow us to browse. Okay, so click add. The name will be static allow all. Actually, you can create only one rule, but since I want to have a more granular approach, I'll configure two different policy for each of the network. Okay, the source zone will be DHCP, destination will be outside, application, any application, application default, actions will be allow. Okay, click OK, and we'll create one more, DHCP allow all. Source will be DHCP, destination will be outside, application, this one allow, fine. Let me just check, I think I made a mistake here. Okay, we'll change this one to static. Okay, now we have the policy, but for the internet to work, we also need to configure NAT. Okay, so for now, I need to configure single NAT. Source zone will be DHCP internal and static. Again, as I said, you can create one policy or two policies separately. Destination zone will be outside. Translated packet will be we'll change this one to dynamic IP and port interface address, interface 1/1. Okay, since this is a DHCP assignment on my Ethernet 1/1, I will make the IP addresses here as none. Otherwise, you can mention the IP address. Okay, click OK. Now we have it. We have the security rule, we have the NAT rule. Okay, now it's time to commit. Configuration committed successfully. Now we need to test it. test machine. I need to edit this one, change it to, yeah, Palo Alto 1110. Okay. Now I need to change the IP address. Since this is static, it will not receive the IP from the Palo Alto. We need to set it manually. Change adapter options. To change this one. Okay, it's already set. So if you want to change, you need to go to properties, and then you go to TCP IP. Okay, this is correct. I will use the 8888. Okay, it goes. Now we need to test CMD. Let's see if it can ping it. Okay, we're able to ping the public DNS. We can go to google.com. Okay, so google.com, it's also can reach facebook.com, and then linkedin.com. Okay, LinkedIn is working as well. Facebook is also working. It's kind of slow. Okay. Facebook, LinkedIn, and fast.com. Now, what we can do to validate this one is we can go to our firewall and check on the logs. Okay, as you can see, 1.1.1.2. Okay, it's going through. Okay, we have here application types, MS update, OSCP, SSL 443. If you can also click on resolve hostname. Yeah. Application, you can also search the application. Facebook. Okay, Facebook based. Okay, it's working. Now we'll test the other configuration, which is the DHCP. Okay, close this one. Close this one again. Go back to the network settings. Change adapter options. Details, this is static. Okay, now we need to change it to DHCP. Go here and then obtain IP address automatically. Click OK, OK, then close. Now let's wait for the IP address assignment and see if it works. Okay, so we need to change the network interface first. Remember, we are in 1.1.1 network. So we need to change that one to 2.2.2.0 network. Okay, now it's connected. Yes. As you can see, it should be taking an IP from 2.2.2. Yes, 2.2.2.10. Why 2.2.2.10? Because on our configuration, our DHCP pool IP address is starting with 2.2.10. Okay, if you click view allocation, we'll show here. This is the MAC address and the host name. Okay, so inside of here you have the IP pool starting with that 10. Okay, so I think this is working. Let's test the internet connectivity first. Facebook.com, Google.com, LinkedIn.com. Oops, what's happening? Okay, it's working, it's working. Okay, now we can see it's working. Okay, 2.2.2.1. Now, next thing we need to do is to check the logs. Okay, now as you can see, it's now working as expected for both the DHCP and the static IP address allocation. Just checking the logs. Okay, so here you can see one is for static, one is for DHCP. Different IP ranges, different networks. Going to Facebook page. Now, if you want to block some applications, you can also do that one. Since here we have the any, meaning it will allow anything to any address to any application. Okay, so we'll as we go on with our tutorials, we'll be having a more granular setup on the security policies. So just to share with you some more info here on the security policy pages module, you will also see here the hit counts, the first hit and the last hit. There are a lot of options here. Okay, just to share with you one more thing, under monitor and the traffic logs, you'll be able to see here, if you click this magnifying glass, so you'll be having more info about the traffic. Okay, so action allow, action source, it's from policy because we allowed all, and then the source user and the destination. Okay, as you can see, it's being natted to 1.1. Okay, and then that's it for now. Now we want to configure this management certificate. Okay, this is also included in the initial configuration because you don't want to see this not secure banner showing up here. So let's check this certificate. So it's not being identified correctly. So what you want to do is you can generate a certificate signing request or CSR on your device. Click on generate. Certificate name is management GUI. The common name, you can put the IP, or if you have an FKDN, if you have an internal DNS, you can also put it there. And you can also add here the IP address, sun name. Since 10.1.x, I mean since Pano OS 10, the IP address is now mandatory field on the certificate attribute. Otherwise, it will still show you the not secure information here. So what we're going to do is, this one is signed by my CSR. I'll generate it. Okay, now I need to export this certificate, signing request, CSR, open it, right click, edit with notepad++. So this is the CSR. We'll just copy it and paste it on my PKI, internal PKI. So request a certificate, advanced certificate. We'll paste the CSR here. The template we'll be using is the web server, okay, since it will only be used for identifying this as secure web server. Click on submit. And then what we want to download is the base 64. Download the certificate. So here's the certificate. We'll just rename it. Okay. Now what you want to do is you go back here. Okay. Don't forget this step. You need to make sure that when you import the signed certificate, it should be using the same certificate name. Why? Because the private key is stored on the same CSR. So we'll click on import. We'll paste the name. Certificate file. We need to downloads and third management GUI. And click OK. See? As you can see, it's from the amber color. Status is now valid and it will expire 1 year, 2 years, sorry. Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to create the SSL TLS service profile. Add GUI, and then certificate will be this one. I'll use TLS 1.2. Press OK. You need to go to setup and then go to management, and you'll also go to general settings, and here you can change the host name as well. So for now, I'll change the host name to okay. Now we need to select the SSL TLS service profile we created. Click OK. Then what else? Under operations, services. Okay, on these services you can set up your NTP server, or you can also set up your proxy server if you are behind a proxy. So for now I left it the blank because we're just doing a simple initial configuration. Press on OK. Then we can commit. Okay, web server will be restarted upon a successful commit of this configuration. Please refresh your browser window. So because of cache, I'm not going to refresh it. Instead, I'm going to open a new private window. See, the not secure here is now not being displayed because we have added a certificate on the management interface. So if you click that lock, click the certificate details, it will show it to you here. So who's the issuer, .ca, some details you can see here as well, the validity. You can also see the SAN, subject. Yeah. Okay, so let's log in. Okay, as you can see, the host name is also updated. Okay, and it's using the certificate. And then the policies are configured. NAT is also configured. And traffic is flowing. Okay, so that's it for now. We have successfully done initial configuration for our very simple setup here using the Palo Alto Firewall. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel to be updated. Thank you so much.